So, hello everybody. It is me, Demetra K, and I am sitting here with Walter of Verbal Herb, and it is Wealth Wednesdays, where we spend about 2 hours with Walter, who is a financial expert. He has been that for almost 30 years, where he has advised everyday people like me and celebrities and everybody in between. And so, on Wealth Wednesdays, we try to gain knowledge as to how to better improve our financial life, right? So we can have a better life. Also, the purpose of the Demetra K Show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people, with the emphasis on even, because we are a great people, but we can always strive to do better. So, also like to say a big giant thank you to YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. You are the other side of the conversation. Not only are you just viewers, but you are the third co-host, because we do read your questions, comments, and concerns, because we feel like you should be heard as well. So today we are going to start off talking about the unfortunate situation of Master P, who, is a rapper, entrepreneur, I guess, who you ask at this point, and his son Romeo, who is an actor among many other things. And so, unfortunately, they have begun to feud um, in the public eye, if you will, due to, and I'll get into it. So it's very unfortunate. Also, we're going to talk about this Texas storm while I'm in Texas, but this freeze that is going to hit a lot of the country. It's kind of weird if you ask me, but we're going to talk about it, how to prepare. And Walter wants to kind of talk about, are you ready to get on the ark per se? So, Walter, what say you? Let's see who's on here. Brother Reggie, what's going on? And Arif, how are you? Says Liberia. Is that where you are? Well, welcome. So, Walter, what say you?
I say it's time to get on the financial arc. A bunch of y'all about to get left. Matter of fact, the arc, they loading up the last animals. It's about to push off.
If
Now,
it hasn't already, right? So,
yeah, it's definitely moving. It's pushing back.
oh yeah, yeah. The ark is already gone. I can see them already. Like, we're out here. You might be able to swim and catch us if you're quick. But yeah, the ark is already gone, especially for us as Black people. But hopefully it is not too late. And so anyway, as we are, I guess I say we in general, people are getting ready for the Christmas holidays, and so I don't know how many people will actually be on here, but we are here, so that's all that matters. So anyway, let's get into it. I'm gonna put this up here. So this is a picture of Master P, who is of No Limit Records. I'm imagining that's still a thing. He also is considered an entrepreneur. They have what you call rap snacks. Most notably, I am familiar. Hey, Monet, Jan, Michael, how you doing? I'm familiar with their chips. I have had a few bags of their chips, and they're really good, if I might add. And they even have a vegan brand. Really good. So anyway, Master P has put on several artists there. I think they're in Louisiana, so in the South, he's put on several artists. And the other gentleman that you see here is his son Romeo, who has been in the spotlight since he was a child. He is no longer a child anymore. He is a grown man. But specifically, who else is on here? Brother Reggie say, ain't no Christmas up in here. And sound man, how are you doing? He says, big ups, Miss D. And Black people, your hero Biden, ain't my hero, just sent another package to Ukraine while y'all struggling in his name. Laugh out loud. Yes, I did not vote for Biden, so I just want to put that out there. But I'm not surprised. So anyway, this family feud started last week when, you guys know, unfortunately, Twitch, who was a dancer, he decided to take his life. And so, of course, a lot of people were in shock about that. And it sounds like Master P was one of those who posted about the unfortunate death. And so Romeo, I guess, was like, nah, you being phony. And I'm going to read y'all a series of things, not all of it, because they've just kind of been going back and forth. And Naima, how you doing? So this is how it started. Again, Master P did a tribute to Twitch, right? So then Romeo says, today was a boiling point. I've seen, and I'm reading as he wrote it, I've seen a man avoid his own children's struggle with suicide and depression, but post another man who passed today that he didn't even know. Y'all idols be lost. Better stop following the blind. Watch when it's revealed. All right. So it should be said that Master P and Romeo's sister, I think believe her name was Tatiana, she passed away of a drug overdose about a year ago, if not this year. And so that's, I guess, what Romeo was referring to. So yeah, it was earlier this year she died of a drug overdose. And so also Romeo posted a thing called a tree of trauma, and it asked a series of questions. Now he asked this on his Instagram to his over 2 million followers, and some of the questions that he asked was, "Why is it that you can't take the same heat as our mother? Why do you feel the need to promote and hold a product every interview just to validate your worth? Don't the people see that? And how come it took my daughter being born to finally realize that we have blindly been feeding the enemy?" So Romeo is talking about him having a daughter, and I don't know kind of what that means, but he's again speaking to his father, and they're doing this online, mind you. Okay. So then Master P then went and posted, "I thought this was about DJ Twitch and about my daughter's death. This is heartbreaking. You just exposed that this is really about money. I watch other celebrities go through this. I'm not playing into this anymore. God knows the truth. I am at peace. I work hard to get my family out of the ghetto. Every time I fell off, I got up and went to work. I didn't blame anyone for my failures. You started this social media rant. So what's your plan besides showing the world you're entitled, spoiled at 30 plus, and throwing a tantrum on social media? I never claimed to be perfect. I am not afraid to admit I'm still growing as a man and a parent. Everybody deals with death in different ways. I get it. I'm just an ATM for this family. I don't care about an image. The bloggers can have their laughs this week. I'm going to keep working, keep praying, and letting God guide me. Mental illness is real." All right. So then he also goes on to say this new generation of kids need to stop blaming their parents for everything. How do they think they got where they are without their parents making sacrifices for them? Again, mental illness is real, and so many families are tragically affected by it, especially when there's added trauma like death of a loved one. Social media is not the place for healing. He says, "Son, I love you. Stop trying to get people to feel sorry for you, and let's come up with a solution. You can come talk to your father and your family like a man. You have kids too. No family is perfect, but together with God, we can heal and get through this." And then finally, Romeo responded, "Man, we've been living month to month since I was 18. Shit's a mirage." He also says, "I've been taking care of my pops, bro. I never touched none of my little Romeo money because that was a TV show he was on. It all went to pay off his IRS taxes. I've been more than loyal. The truth will set us free." Then he also put up, they said, an image of him promoting rap snacks for on BET 106 in Park. So again, there's a lot going on with that. A lot of people feel very sad and disheartened to see the father and son feuding so publicly about, I don't know, Master P is saying money. Sounds like Romeo was hurt because Master P, his father, posted a tribute to that of DJ Twitch. And he's basically saying that you care more about somebody you don't know more than your own daughter, who did take her or to actually overdose this year. And so I don't know, y'all. It's a lot going on. So let me get to the comments, and then I'm going to see what Walter thinks about this very unfortunate story. All right, so let's see here. Brother Reddish, I say you say ain't no Christmas up in here. And let's see here. Brother Don, how are you doing? And Dorothy, what's going on with you? So, Walter, what's your take on what I just read? And of course, there's a lot more to it. It's just, it seems like a lot of back and forth, but that's pretty much the gist of what has happened so far. And Naima says, and I hope I'm saying it right. He says, wasn't it Master P that showed him his value of money? Very good question. So, Walter, what say you?
Well, I think one, this is what happens when men become feminized, and I don't even know if that's a word. If so, I'll claim it. It's the demasculinity of men. I mean, he's acting like a woman that's scorned and heartbroken. Like, come on, man, that's your father. Master P got a good point. These kids are spoiled. These young kids, man, they're so damn spoiled. Like, damn, if I hear one more kid talk about their parents and it's their fault that they don't have nothing, man, that is the worst. And the worst thing we can do, it appears, is to actually do stuff for our kids. Make sure they got a good home. Make sure they go to school. And I watched a little Romeo when he was younger. Looked like they have money to me. I mean, if you got IRS debts, that's on you. But like, and he's famous because his father was famous. His father put him on. It's like the whole thing when I was dealing with Benzino, and watching him and Coi Leray go through that. I'm like, sometimes people forget who put them on in the first place. If I put you on and then you have trouble, the fact that you're on that stage and you're living a good life is, that you should be appreciative of. And I hear saying check to check, but you can't tell me you live in check to check, but then tell me you still got all your little Romeo money saved. Like, which one is it?
And not only that, I just looked, it says that, and I don't know how true it is, where they're getting these numbers from, but it says that Master P is estimated to be worth over $200 million. So I'm not sure who's actually telling the truth here.
Well, they're not living check to check. Master P's not broke. I mean, Master P owns his music. Anyways, and even if he was, they're not punching the clock. Master P ain't up at Target. He's still in his house, got his cars, he's still running his businesses. He got potato chips, cereal. I mean, I don't know how you broke after doing all that. So, but again, it goes back to my original comment. Men are becoming women. You make a woman upset, she gonna go off on you. She gonna tell all her girlfriends. That's just women's nature, right? That's just what they do. You make a woman upset, the whole world gonna know about it sooner or later. But this dude is he's doing well. But he's doing what the kids are doing these days, and they don't want to take responsibility. They don't want to get to work. One of my guy that I did business with today said his daughter is still asleep. It's 11:30. And these kids, man, they wake up 9 o'clock, 9:30. Your ass, you still ain't dressed. You still in the house at 10 o'clock. You ain't like, you just still sitting in bed at 10 a.m. Like, what is going through your mind? And then you got the ability to complain that first of all, once your parents give birth to you, you get 18, they give you a path. You're an adult, you can take it. My parents gave me advice. That was it. Not that was it, but like, they supported me, which I'm grateful for. You know what I'm saying? My parents lived our parents lived in a middle-class neighborhood our whole life. We ain't never been poor. We ain't never been broke. I appreciate that. So anything after that, and an example of what to do with your life, which both of my parents did, I'm grateful for. So these kids, man, they need to shut the hell up and go out. Unless you're working 18 hours a day trying to make your dream come true, you have nothing to say. And you kids, man, I can go right now if I'm 19, take a picture of something, create a website for $20 and put it up and connect it to a Shopify account and sell, make money. And you ain't got no bills, nothing in your way. You sitting at home, you can do that from your house. So there's zero excuse for this guy to be going after his fine. Why embarrass your pops like that? Come on, man.
I think, and I'm gonna just play devil's advocate a little bit here with you guys. So, and welcome to everybody that came on here. Maybe his feelings are hurt. Clearly, he's got hurt feelings. As he said, his sister passed away of a drug overdose, and it sounded like she was struggling with a drug addiction for some time. And so, per what Romeo said, the dad, Master P, just didn't seem like he was all in like he was when he posted about Twitch. So, what say you about that? Is his feelings valid for feeling that way?
No such thing. First of all, you don't get to validate somebody else's feelings. Number one, you can't tell people how to feel. You know what I'm saying? And who knows what he went through? Not that it's any of our business, but who knows how long his sister struggled with drugs. I know people personally. I have friends who, to this day, one of my really good friends, I'll leave her nameless. We were talking, and she goes, "Walter, I spent my whole adult life fighting with my two kids about drugs. And I know I've seen it wear her She's a beautiful black woman. She is just, every time we talk, she is worn out. Like, it's been decades of her dealing with this. And I said to her, and this is my friend, and I said, you know what? I understand what you're going through. I know someone else is going through this issue. And I said, it would be better if they were dead. They could be free of this, and you could be free. You're approaching senior citizen, geriatric jiggle time, and you are still dealing with these kids that are approaching 30, 40 years old. At what point do you get? So we don't know what the hell they were going through. And I can tell you, dealing with somebody that's on drugs is the worst thing you could deal with, because it drains you, them, your resources. It takes you to the brink of suicide and murder and all the stuff you want to go through. And then to put it out on social, that's why I think social media is, I don't know, it's a phenomenal tool, but people are really using it for destruction. He need his ass whooped for putting his pops out there. I don't care what my father has done to me. You will never hear me put my pops on blast like that. Period. I don't care if he was a serial killer, 2-time rapist. I don't care. It ain't my business to disrespect my pops, because I don't get to judge him. Those are my thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, and that's Walter, by the way, Arniba. But how are you doing? Yeah, I
I'm the
mean,
younger brother.
huh?
The younger brother.
So yeah, I mean, I totally get it. I understand him having hurt feelings, but I just couldn't get my head around that, because you know, anybody who was a parent, which I'm a parent, Walter's a parent, I'm sure some of you on here are parents. It's one of the hardest jobs you'll ever have to do. Now, fortunately, when we were younger and our, parents made us mad, we didn't have social media, right? But it's not just Romeo and his dad. I see it a lot with people going back and forth with their mom and their dad on social media, and they're putting them all out on Front Street. It's like, wow. Because tomorrow you're probably gonna feel like some shame that you did that to, your parent or your child. But I mean, I'm not on social media much nowadays anymore. But sometimes when I'm on, I see that, I'm like, this is just crazy. I mean, I'm not even talking about, well, my mom is kind of mean type of stuff. I mean, it's just dirty laundry, just putting them out there. And so I don't know. I think you should be able to have hurt feelings, but I also think you should be able to, have a pause button and say, okay, do I need to take this to social media? Because true indeed, people are they're weighing in on it. Some people saying, I believe Romeo, and I knew Master P wasn't this and that. And so, I call it the peanut gallery, even us, right? Like, we don't really know what's going on inside their home, but it's like, to take it to social media, and I call it undressing your dad like that. I just feel like there's other ways you could have went about that. I mean, for God's sake, he made a post about DJ Twitch. Sounds like he didn't know him personally. So it's like, it was just a post that made you come unglued to that degree. So I'm one of those people, I can't amen what Romeo did. I'm not saying his feelings aren't valid, but I can't get behind him putting his daddy on blast, because as many of you have said, without his father, he wouldn't be where he is, right? I mean, Master P put a lot of people on, and he said it himself, I'm not perfect, but damn, man, you're living the life you living because of me, So let me get to these comments. And then I have another question too for Walter and you all. Should, just because you're somebody's parent, should that trump everything? Like, I'm your mama, I'm your daddy. If it wasn't for me, you wouldn't have A, B, C, and D. I mean, does that like squash the argument, or is there more to it? So let me get to these comments. Don't forget that question, Walter. No, it's not. No worries, Aniba. So let's see here. Dorothy says the Bible teaches us to honor our mother and our father. It says nothing about them being honorable. Lord knows I did my best to honor my parents, but kids today have no sense of honor. But let me ask y'all this. Let me throw this one out there too. Why don't they have a sense of honor? Are we dropping the ball? I'm just asking. Facts Not Feelings, how you doing? It says, under no circumstances should family be putting their business on social media. I totally agree. And Pudge, nice what's going on with you. Says, because the parents trying to be young, being on social media too, It's no age limit. Yeah, that's ridiculous. I mean, it's like, come on, man. It has to be like some social media code of ethics or something. I know they have their own, but it's like as a family, it's certain things we're not gonna do, right? Uh, and Dorothy also say they're putting out dirty laundry and lies, and if the dirty laundry wasn't enough, they have to start making up stuff. Right? It's disgusting. In fact, not feeling says under no circumstances should family be putting their business on social media. That's like them fighting in the public square. Absolutely not good. And Jessica says, but parents, quote unquote, quote, put stuff on social media about their kids all the time. Yes, and I see it. And I tell y'all all the time. I have a daughter. She'll be 30. She'll kill me if I tell you guys that, but she'll be 30 next Monday. But I rarely post her on social media. I rarely do it. I might do a birthday picture, every year or something, but I don't post about her because she has her own life. And, I think at this point that I should respect her privacy, but I do, whether it's something good or bad, I see people doing it all the time. And so for me, I like to respect my daughter's privacy and not, air everything she's doing because I think that should be for her to do, right? And Sooty Man, how are you doing? It says some things are best discussed behind closed doors. That was the thing that people used to do. When you went outside your house, you leave what happened in the house, right? And OG, how are you doing? It says social media is therapeutic for some. They just want to get it off their chest somewhere. So that I can totally agree with. You have this amen section, right? Like, yeah, you right. Yeah, this ain't, so you have people kind of validating. And I think we need to understand they're only validating the post because they don't know what's behind the post. They can just only validate what you put up there, right? But good point. And Dorothy says, I believe society is teaching our kids how to be dishonorable. We teach them one thing in a house and then they go outside and turn on the TV or learn a different lesson. Okay. And OG said it's hard to honor someone with no honor. That's a good point. I mean, some parents are not honorable, but I guess I asked the question. Well, I asked two questions. One was, should me being your parent trump everything else? Like, if it wasn't for me, I brought you in this world. You should forever be grateful. And I'm kind of, putting a little bit on it, but just put up with everything that I'm doing because I'm your mom. Walter, what do you say about that? And you all in the comment section.
Again, and most people that I know believe in some form of religion. And from what I understand, most religions tell you to honor your father and your mother. It don't say if, it says do. And believe me, I'm a parent. I had 6 kids, 4 grandkids, and I'm sure my kids could go through and name some stuff that I haven't done right. But I could have been perfect and not had any kids. So we could take it there. So I look at, hey, if you enjoy being alive and your parents brought you here, and you're an adult, it's up to you. I don't care if your parents are locked up. I don't care. They gave you life. And if you value it, do something with it. And if not, take it, do something, disappear, jump off something tall, take your life, do what you got to do. If you don't enjoy it, respect your life. But stop bitching about how bad your life is because of someone else. And as far as needing honor, I don't think there's anyone on this planet that deserves honor like that because ain't nobody perfect. And as we see by watching the news and our celebrities every day, some freak or somebody, it's like, man, is there anybody? And I don't care if it's a minister, I don't care who it is. Everybody got these freaky skeletons. It's just so crazy. So honor, I think, was lost millennials ago. I think we should just, they're our parents. We honor them. And if we don't agree with them, just move on. Me and my mom didn't really argue much. My mom said something. I was like, all right, whatever. You're my mama. My father, I don't argue with him to this day. He's 80. We don't agree. But I just keep it to myself. I don't disrespect my pops. Hey, pops, you ain't right. You know what I'm saying? That's, in some cultures, that's murder.
Absolutely. And Naima, you say some people's parents assaulted them, in that way. I didn't put it up there because of algorithms in childhood, and that's not honorable. So I totally agree. I don't think I'm not one of those people that think that just because I brought you in the world that you should respect me no matter what. No, I don't. I'm not one of those people. I think that respect is earned. Now, yes, I think off the rip should give your parents respect, right? But I think we also need to think about the times that parents sometimes lose the respect of their children. That is possible, right? Because I was one of those parents. I didn't want to put these blanket teachings on my daughter. I don't care what it is. If you need to respect me or respect your elders. It's like, you do, just on the surface. But there's levels to that, right? I don't want you to respect people or tolerate people rather who don't respect you. So that's why I'm not really in love with the whole no matter what your parents do. I think obviously I'm gonna respect my parents because they gave me life. However, once you gave me life, what quality of life did you give me once I came into the world when I was under your tutelage as a minor? You know what I'm saying? So that's why I said there's kind of levels to it. Just kind of throwing that out there. Let me get in the comment section. And so let's see here. And hello to Era Black TV and Isaac. How are you doing? Let's see here. And Jessica, you say parents are responsible for our lives. Yes, that goes a long way. Not that they are perfect, but they are our parents. I agree with that. And Era Black, he says seeds have to be sown in their youth. We lose our children to the world at a certain point, especially when strong bonds aren't created. I totally agree with you on that. And Dion, how are you doing? Says Romeo definitely got some deep-seated anger. P has made many people millionaires, including himself. I'd expect an apology is coming soon, or is the prelude to Master P's red carpet. And High Tech, how are you? Says the attack on Black fathers is real. And Dorothy says precisely there's a way to do things. And so I'm hoping that they mend their ways. We got enough Black people fighting, right? Everywhere. So and I want to take High Tech your statement. You say the attack on Black fathers is real. I've seen people actually bring that up in regards to this situation and other situations, I guess. But some do see it as an attack on Black fathers. But I don't know. I would imagine it's very heartbreaking for Master P to get the notifications that his son is blowing him up on social media. And let's just say it was true that Romeo was helping his dad pay his taxes. Like, man, that's your dad. You know what I'm saying? Your dad and your mom come on, fall on hard times. Like for me, I would feel like it would be my duty and my honor to help my parents if they fell on hard times. I would never hold it against them. Like, well, when you was broke, I used my paycheck. Cause see that right there, I think most people can agree that sounds very spoiled and almost like, well, why should I be expected to help you, right? Because like Walter said, well, how did you get the money? You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know. And let's see here. Isaac says, I'm doing great, beautiful Queen Kate. Thank you so much. And I'm glad to hear that you were doing great. But yeah, I mean, there's levels to that. There is levels to respecting your parents. And again, I'm not saying that they shouldn't be respected, but you got to earn that. And as many of you also said, it's how you raise the children. What was it, Era Black? You said the bonds are the bonds strong while you're raising those children to where like I would rather cut my fingers off before I go on social media and do that to my parents or anybody, right? Like just rip them a whole new one. And trust me, there's been people I really just wanted to just get on out there and but I didn't, right? Because then there's this thing called regret. Like you're gonna regret doing that to people. Because the other thing is, we get so hot under the collar and we get mad and we don't just take a couple of minutes to say, all right, now, if I post this, somebody gonna take some screenshots and they gonna share it everywhere. And tomorrow I might feel different. I might be like, you know what? I was just mad. I don't really feel like that about my dad. But guess what? It's too late. And one of the best analogies I can think of with stuff being too late or you can't get things back is, I don't know if y'all ever saw the movie Doubt with Philip Seymour Hoffman, Viola Davis, and Meryl Streep, where they were nuns and Philip Seymour Hoffman was the priest and he was accused of doing something that, pretty heinous. If y'all haven't seen the movie, I won't tell y'all. It was a really good movie. So he was accused of doing something heinous by that of Meryl Streep. She was a nun. So actually, Viola Davis wasn't a nun, but her son went to the school. So anyway, Philip Seymour Hoffman gets up into the pulpit and he's giving this sermon. He says, imagine cutting open a feathered pillow and then releasing it out into the wind. He says, now imagine trying to collect every last feather that you release from that pillow. He says, it's impossible. It's hard to collect all those feathers back. And he says, now that's the effect that gossip has. That's the effect that putting, especially nowadays on social media, that's the effect of putting things on social media. Because while you may have regret and say, okay, let me take this post down, 25 people probably already made a screenshot of it and they done passed it all around. And that lives on forever, even though your feelings don't. So that's why I think we need to be very careful of the things that we put out there. And let's see here. OG says Master P and Romeo's issues are deeper than money. P also isn't with Romeo's mother anymore. Okay, so that could, because he did mention the mom being strong or something like that. So why? But he said basically said, why can she be strong and you can't? And LaShonda, how are you doing? And Jafia, what's going on with you? Jessica, you said extreme cases are extreme cases, but overall, parents do not do things that warrant disrespect from their children. Just my opinion. No, I totally agree with you. I think off the rip, you should give your parents respect, but it's up to them to keep it. Yeah, I mean, I'm a parent, so, and I'm not saying that you're not Jessica, but I'm saying I'm a parent, so I know that, just because my daughter is here and I brought her here, I still have to earn her respect as well. So, Walter, what say you?
Welcome to wokeness. Wokeness, the femininity of men. It's like, man, if a man stands up and says something manly or does something manly, his ass is tarred and feathered. It just blows me away how men have the audacity to do stuff. I mean, like, I don't know. Master P, little Romeo is lucky. That's for sure. Because if Master P is as crazy as I think he is, Romeo's lucky to be alive. That's for sure. Because I'm telling you, I'm sure Master P went through a bunch of stuff getting those kids, getting them organized and all that stuff. And then to have them turn around and then do what they're doing, that's not cool. Yeah, that is, like I said.
And then there's this thing too, as parents, because and that's why I said too, how did the kids get that way? And we kind of talked about that, and Jafai said little Romeo spoiled, and you kind of just read my mind there. How do the kids get that way? What are we as parents doing, right? Because I think every generation will have a story about, oh, well, in my day, my mom would have whooped my ass, And in our day, yeah, we would have caught one, right? We would have caught a bad one. Hello, only Pamela's way. But we have to ask ourselves, how do the children get this way? Because, we're hearing, oh, this generation of children, they're just so spoiled and they're entitled. And I wonder if, my mom's generation said that about us and so on and so forth. But I think we as parents have to ask, Walter, you talked about somebody's daughter sleeping to 10, 11 o'clock in the daytime. It doesn't sound like she's doing much to be sleeping that late. I don't know, does she have a night job or something?
No, just up till 3 and sleep until whenever. It's just, and her father was like, what could she be doing at 3 a.m.? I said, I don't know. They're awake, they're on social media.
So that's the point that I'm making. How is it? And this is where we got to have a come to Jesus moment or whatever. Hello, 5-star review says Black millennials are the media generation. Putting their personal, private, family business in the public space is used to get back at the parents. My father would have put me to sleep. Yeah, you know what I mean? But this is where we have to come have get really honest with ourselves, right? If you have a child, a grown child, with nothing to do, sleeping in your house up under your roof to 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, and they ain't productive, well, whose fault is that? That's your fault. That's your fault for allowing such a child, and I know they're grown, but that's still your child, to sit up and do nothing. My father used to always say, and he still says, I'm not going to help you do nothing. Now, I'll help you if you want to try to go out and do something in life or be something. You're going to school, you with something. But you lay, hell, I don't lay up in the house in the bed until 11 o'clock. Why you think? See, that would be like nails to a chalkboard to me. If I had an individual in my house that was not working, was not productive, and they sleep till 11, what you tired from? You ain't did nothing, you know? So that's when we as parents have to say, okay, I am aiding and abetting this behavior because I know I couldn't do that in my mama's house or my daddy's house, my grandmama's house. I can't think of anywhere that I could do that and that would be all right. I remember spending the night at my grandma's house and it wouldn't even be daylight. She'd be like, y'all gonna sleep all day? Just like, it's 5:30. But the point was, I'm up. Y'all need to be up too, right?
And we should be up. But and you can't really say a lot to kids, because now they're your kids. You want to, you're trying to help them, but now we get all these boundaries. You can barely even say something to your kids. It's so sensitive. It's like, man, I have zero sympathy for these children at all. You got everything at your fingertips. Shut the hell up, grow up, and get to work. If you're not working an 18-hour day, shut the hell up. I don't want to hear it. If you got video games on, you and your friends. I was listening to this cat talk the other day. And he just on the phone, one of his boys, 20-minute conversation. I was working on something, and I just overheard this kid. He must have been 25 years old. They just having a conversation like two chatty chicks. And I felt like going over and saying, man, y'all ain't talking about nothing, just gossip and Pookie in them. You're a grown-ass man. What are you doing with your life, my brother? You ain't working, y'all just pants on the ground, just chilling, sagging. Man, I tell you, if it was up to me, if I was God, and most people think God I'm not, I would just drop bombs. You seen that movie, the Marvel movie, The Avengers, where Homeboy just snap his fingers and everybody disappear?
Thanos.
That's what
What do
I
you
would
think
do.
about this comment?
First generations who are rich left their children. I don't know. That's a tough slope, because you do well and you want your kids to do well, and out of love for them, you want them to do better, but you do ruin them to some degree because they haven't earned it. They haven't fought for it. So I know my kids have gone through the same thing. Some of them are just, they're entitled. They're chilling. They're just, they don't know the hustle, versus if I would have said, you know what? I'm gonna let you guys deal with this and do this on your own. That's what we should have done. So we did make it easier. And little Romeo is not poor. Little Romeo is balling out. He said it himself.
And I agree. I agree with the fact that, well, I don't know if it's a fact, but yeah, there's uh unfortunately a lot of generations, and I guess you could say Black people, who have come into a little something and they don't want their children to have to suffer. It is said that a first generation of millionaires rarely produces a second one, because they have the ideology of, well, everything was hard. I didn't have everything I wanted, and it was a struggle. So I don't want my children to struggle. But it's like, I get not wanting your children to struggle, but you don't want them to have to like hustle to do nothing, like, and know the feeling of accomplishment, because that's what I think we rob them of, right? And I'm not saying like I'm a millionaire, but I'm just saying in general, when we don't want our children to suffer or struggle, I just don't want them to go through what I went through. I get it. Like, I don't eat, I sometimes I have to eat spam, right? I don't like spam. I haven't eaten spam in probably nearly 40 years, right? So yeah, I wouldn't want my daughter to eat spam, but I think that at some point in time, the children need to learn how to go get it, right? And if, like teach your children as though you weren't here, what would they do? If mom and dad or no other support system was here, would your children? I think that's a question we need to ask ourselves. As I'm raising this beautiful baby, Am I going to raise them to the point if there were no support systems left for this child? Let's say they're 18, 19, 20, whatever at this point. No support systems left. Am I raising this child in a way that it would say, well, you know what? I've learned so much growing up from my parents. I know I can take it from here. I can figure things out. Because I think what we're doing now is we're raising a generation of children that they have no critical thinking skills. They're not resourceful. It's almost like you look at some of them and like, wow, if you were sat in a desert with no water, you would probably just fry to death. You know what I mean? It's like, would you even feel like you need to save yourself? Like, what would you do, right? So I think that's the questions we need to ask. And so I'm gonna jump back in this comment section. Let's see here. And a lady, how are you doing? And Pamela said they're shadow banning me a lot, so I miss all of Master P and Romeo social media therapy. Yeah, I've seen it mostly on Instagram, some on Twitter. I mean, I've seen it all over from the times that I am on there. Dorothy, you say in this day and age, if I had to raise any kids, I would leave America. I would not raise my kids in this country. You know, I've heard other people say that as well. And Jafia is saying first generation. And you also say, do they mean first generation as far as wealth? Yes, as far as wealth. I think you heard me say if a first generation of millionaires rarely raises a second one. And a lady says many of the new rich kids invest in crypto, Bitcoin, and NFTs. All that stuff is crashing just in time for Christmas. Sad. Yeah, you know, we kind of feel like that was all done by design because that is what they consider the service industry, right? The working class of service industry. Get out there and make those tacos and hamburgers and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And that generation, they did, to their credit, figure out how to amass wealth. But we know the story with that nowadays, right? And, you know, you say exactly. And Dorothy says, you will find low income kids behaving the same way. Yeah, that is true. And Javai says, I think we rob the children of identity and independence when we do everything for them. I totally agree. We rob them of the hustle, the know-how, what did you call it? The initiative. We rob them of all of that, right? And Double A, how you doing? It says, Master P tried teaching Romeo the business. Okay. In fact, my feeling says, today I learned from another YouTuber show. I will give reference when I find his name. Whites have a net worth of 127 trillion and blacks have 6 trillion. No amount of hard work will close that gap. So I totally agree with you, which is why we need reparations. But that does not negate that we can still teach, and I'm not saying you're saying this, that we can still teach our children skills, right? And how to do for self, because ultimately that's what we should be doing and teaching our children how to do for self. Will your children be able to survive without your input? You know what I mean? Now I know too, a lot of children, older children, are moving back home because the economy is really bad. A lot of them really just can't afford to live on their own. However, that you have moved back home, you're not going to be laid up in the bed to 10, 11, 12 o'clock all day long unless you're working a night job or something. That's a different story. But let's see here. Sudi Bang says, right, you have to hear kids geared kids toward living independently, not to depend on others. Yep. Fast Not Feeling says, we are dealing with a structural problem that not even reparations will fix. Yeah, I mean, I can see that because let's think about this. We get the money. What are we going to do with it? I don't know if that's where you were going with it, but what are we going to do with it? You know what I mean? Are we raising children, as Carter G. Woodson said, in the miseducation of the Negro, to learn how to be industrious, how to build, you know, and businesses, own and operate them? Now, I'm not talking about some of this fancy stuff we got going on now, but having grocery stores, laundromats, car washes, auto mechanic shops, like things like that. Are we teaching them those things? I don't know. Or it would when and if we get the money, are they going to take that money and just spend it because we have not taught them how to grow it, right? And let's see here. Sudaman, says you have to rear children. Okay, that's what you meant, rear children. Jafai says crypto is definitely falling fast right now. Yeah, I see a lot of people crying about that. Arniva, you says the value of crypto is based on a thought that hasn't stood the test of time. That is true. And OG says Romeo isn't Master P. We can't expect the same from him. Both these men grew up entirely different. You're absolutely right. One grew up getting it out the mud. and one grew up, when the flowers and everything was already sprouting from the mud, right? So you're absolutely right. Then they don't have the same set of experiences. But would you agree that with Pat, and it sounds like Master P says that he spoiled his kids, that just because he had to get it out the mud, there was instances where he could have taught them to do the same thing, and now maybe not as much as he did, but to some degree. Facts Not Feelings says totally agree. Do for self means create an independent economy from the dominant class. Yep. Amina says I haven't helped financially from my parents in I don't know how long. So I think you haven't gotten help from them. Is that what you mean? And Dorothy says get the money. I'm leaving. So he said he's getting the reparations and you out of here. I hear you. And elevate my mind. How are you doing? It says peace, fam. I'm over these entitled and spoiled kids, famous or not. My child tried the entitlement with me. I recognized it early during high school. I took everything away, hit the reset, and we good now. Wow. Yeah, sometimes you got to do that. Like, okay, clearly we got off on the wrong foot somewhere. However, we need a reset. We need a reset because, and I love a reset, right? Because if I don't do that now with you, then you'll go on and you'll be a problem for yourself and you'll be a problem for society, and everything you do it'll be a problem. So yeah, let's get back on the right foot. So I totally love that. And a 5-star review. He says, as far as reparation goes, let us don't sit around and worry about what other people will do with their money. Worry about what you're going to do with reparations. I totally agree. I know what I'm gonna do with mine. I'm gonna put mine to work, right? It ain't going back into the mall. But you're absolutely right. We can't tell people what to do with their money. The money belongs to us, and it's up to us to decide what we do with it. So I totally agree with you. And Amina, you say yes. And a lady says Romeo said P didn't have money to send him to college. That's what loans were for. He's putting blame on in the wrong place. Yeah, because who's to say that I have to send you to college, right? Is there anywhere that says I must send you to college? There's a lot of people who say I didn't get sent to college. I went and I got those good old student loans, or I worked or whatever I needed to do, but I wasn't privy enough to have somebody just send me to college, right? And I think that's probably most of us. Facts Not Feelings, you say, in order for Blacks to get out of the situation we find ourselves in, we have to think and behave independently from the dominant group. I totally agree with you. Amina says, my only issue with Master P is he's giving in charity to all strangers when charity starts at home first. And Tyrell, how are you doing? He says, I'm buying Jordans and weed. Okay, well, you do you, boo. And Dorothy says, I get it. I'm moving to a country. If I get it, I'm moving to a country, I can heal a completely new environment. Yes, indeed. And so let's see here. I want to go back to Amina, your comment. You says, my only issue with Master P is he's giving charity to all strangers when charity starts at home first. I agree that charity starts at home first, but if I have raised grown children, do I really owe you? Like I think this is really a question that we really have to get used to answering and asking. What do I owe you? I brought you here. You ate, you had clothes on your back, had a roof over your head, you got an education. What else do I owe you after that? Now, I wouldn't say I wouldn't help strangers before I help my own, but I'm just kind of playing devil's advocate a little bit. What does he really owe his grown children, right? Because we see a lot of that sometimes, and it does backfire because you end up raising entitled people where it's like, well, I should have anything I want. Anytime I ask you for something, you should just give it to me, right? And so that's not always the case. At some point in time, we do have to ask that question. What do I owe you? It's not going to hurt us sometimes to say, I don't owe you anything. Anything that I do for you or give you past this point of my responsibilities to you as a child is by grace. It's because I want to. I don't have to do anything for you, even if I'm your mom. I don't owe you anything. So I think you should be grateful that what I am doing for you, if that's the case, that you're getting that. But as far as owe you something and you got an attitude with me, you want to put me on blast? I don't think so. And so, and Tatum, how are you doing? It says these meddling kids need to get to go get their own money, their own life. Stop living through their parents' lives, spoiled and entitled. Jails are full of people who got everything handed to them by their parents. Yes, I give a lot of to communities, but I know how my children were raised. I don't know how the other people were raised. Good foundation. She could make a good life. A lot of people are on the streets because they didn't have a good life. Big difference. I totally agree with you. And I should have just read your comment. And I mean, it says he don't owe them, but not help your kids when the need. It's instead him giving millions to complete strangers. Yeah, but I mean, so I guess can we ask, did he give them anything? Because you know who else says they're not giving their children all of their money? Bill Gates. Bill Gates is one of the wealthiest men in the world, or people in the world, right? He says, I'm giving my children $10 million a piece. Now, of course, we know he's worth billions. He says $10 million a piece. And he says, yeah, some people have a problem with that. Like, how are you going to give your children only $10 million when you die and you got all this money? He was like, well, I didn't have $10 million when I was coming up. And if they can't make a go out of it with $10 million, then I've taught them nothing. So, I don't know. And let's see here. The facts not feelings. You say, I never bought a pair of Jordans in my life. I always thought they were way too expensive and still are, right? Jafia says, now that Biden gave $55 billion to African for reparations, I hope this means that Africans here in America will stay the hell out of our fight of reparations. They won't. Elevate my mind says, I don't agree with the charity part. Like P said, people usually, your family takes advantage of you. They don't make their own way, even after you've helped family thousands of times. That's ungrateful. Yeah, because then you create this atmosphere of entitlement, right? Well, you did it for me last time, so why can't you do it for me again? It's like, but who did it for me? You know what I mean? So, and I mean, it says, but why not help your son? He's down. I just don't understand people like that, but you give millions to strangers. Well, I don't know if it's been said that he's never helped his son, but would you agree that he did help his son with the career that he has now? I mean, how did Romeo even get the career that he has? Would it if it was not for his dad and his hustle and his notoriety? Would Romeo be where he is today? I don't know. He might be. I don't know. But I'm just asking. So it's like, how much help is enough? I guess that's the question that I'm asking. And Jafia says 33 is not a kid. Agreed. And double A. He says, Will Smith kids seems to have good work ethics besides the fact they are weird. Yeah, and a lot of people did talk about Will Smith's kids being weird, but Jaden Smith, he owns Just Water, a very lucrative water company, and he has a restaurant that just opened up that he feeds homeless people for free. I mean, it was open before, but it was closed during the pandemic. So yeah, they are very successful children, and I don't think either one of them has finished school. And Walter, you can jump in at any time. And Elevate says, trust Romeo had millions. Don't forget Romeo was his own brand. That is very true. And the Hula Gang, how are you doing? Who else came on here? Money, QFO, how are you doing? So, Walter, what say you?
I mean, whew, that's a lot. I'm still trying to get over. I was trying to find some stuff on this. It's popping up on my feed. I'm just a couple things. The thing with reparations, yeah, we need those, and I know they're talking about it a little bit more. But here's what I would say about reparations, and yeah, there are. So if you decide to smoke them at home or say buy weed and Jordans, I mean, that's part of the problem because a lot of black kids that hear that, they see that, it smell like weed all the damn time. It's hard to run up on some kids that don't smell like weed. So thanks for contributing to the destruction of the black race. But I think it has to come down to self-esteem because we do need to ask ourselves, if you can't do with what you have, what are you going to do with $200,000, $300,000, $400,000? And I'm almost afraid of the whole reparation thing to see what we're going to do with it. Like the power we would have with that kind of money. But I see our people, just when it comes to money, we are just in last place, and not because we don't know how. We're good at making money. We just don't. It's not important to us. And I don't care what's going on. We are not being responsible with our own money. It is. And we say the same things to people all the time. So you give us reparations. Yes, some of us are going to do the right things, and it's our money. You can do what you want with it. But we will forever lose the right to complain about our past if we take these reparations and we blow them off. Period. So I did my YouTube channel, As the Money Talks. I did a little cooking show where I talked about how to buy real estate with your car and do some things and use it to build wealth. And I just that information is out there, but at what point do we pull the trigger? And we were talking about the arc earlier, the financial arc. When I was in the choir, we used to sing "Run to the Ark" before the rain starts. I was on tenor, yes sir. I was in the choir for a long time, holding the tenor section down, and that was one of my favorite songs. And it just dawned on me. I was talking to my sister earlier, like, man, we are getting left on the ark. And Black people, we do make money. That is hogwash to say that Black people don't make enough money. That is not true. I know a lot of Black people. I was in Nordstrom's today. I bumped into one of my girls, Teresa Harris. She's my age. She's retired. She's making money. She got like 6 jobs. Runs a group home, this home. Then she's talking about I'm in cosmetology school, learning how to do hair. She's in her 50s and making money. Don't need it. And I know for a fact she works an 18-hour day. And she's in her 50s. So when people say Black people don't make enough money, that is not true. That is a lie. 100%. And if you're in the camp that says Black people don't make money, that is not true. We are talking about 2 young, rich Black dudes right now who made money singing, rapping, performing about their street life and everything that's going on. So no, Black people, we have to, because if you don't think we can make money, we can't manage it either. And I tell you, man, if I'm not Black, if I'm white, Jew, or whatever, and I'm sitting just talking about if I'm one of the people that are so-called exploiting Black people, I want Black people to get reparations. Because they don't give it back. Even Dave Chappelle, somebody made a comment about Dave Chappelle. He did that whole thing about Cadillac stock blowing up through the roof. And it's the truth. And it's heartbreaking. So we do make money. The problem is, and Black people, this shit gets I'm exhausted of talking about this. This is exhausting talking about Black people and not making money. We do. I tell you what, in LA, where I'm near, if I go to a Black people party, there's going to be luxury cars from the beginning. And you know how you know it's Black people? By all the cars in the parking lot. We got every luxury car from Bugatti to McLaren in the parking lot. And everybody's suited up, Gucci, Louis, everything. But when it comes time to get on stage and talk about building wealth and this and moving money around and getting, it's crickets up in there. You know what I'm saying? So that's our fault. Today, what happened to us in the past? I got it. I had slave ancestors too. But damn, at what point do I stop leaning on slavery? I stopped falling in love with roots. Kunta Kinte. It's like, all right, we got it. We were slaves. It was horrible. But like, we need to move ahead. So we can, Black people, we are very powerful. It's just our behavior with money. We need to stop tooting and booting with the money. We hit it and quit our money. If you got $1 in your pocket, are you going to have a relationship with this dollar in a year, 2 years, 3 years, or is your money your side chick? You get the money. Hey, baby, I'll see you once a week. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to get it and I'm going to throw you out. That's what we do with our money. There's no reason Black people should not be a force financially. Man, if we just said, you know what? We're not going to spend money, companies would end. Like, why, if you go look at Nike stock today, they were up 10%. Right now, the stock market is falling. We are in a recession. Believe it or not, the stock market, most of my stocks have, they fall, they go up and down, and I'm okay with that because it's a long-term thing. But Nike is up 10%. They smashed earnings. Their third quarter results were off the hook. This is with Kanye, Kyrie, all this stuff going on, and Nike's blowing the doors off. And Phil Knight got his old behind up to talking about Kyrie was out of line. You dumb nigger. I dare you get out of line. He said it with a straight face. He got out of line. Dumb niggers. I dare they have an opinion.
Did you hear what's going on with Nike now? which is why I'm surprised that their stocks are up 10%, because they just, as an expose that came out, that there was sexual harassment going on in the office. It was reported in 2018, and it was sealed, but the documents became unsealed, and so it's quite the expose, if you will. So
people don't care. Negroes don't care. Negro Damas is out there in Nikes. I got a pair of Nikes I bought right before this Kyrie and Kanye thing. I use those Nikes to change the oil in my car and do the laundry and do when I need to jump in the backyard. And the minute I'm done with them, I'm gonna light them on fire in my furnace in my backyard. I'll never buy another pair of Nikes. I'll never buy Balenciaga or none of that Adidas. The Nazi Adidas was started by two Nazis. Like, come on, black people. Like, seriously, you can't refrain from buying that stuff? I mean, come on. That's our fault. It ain't got nothing to do with it. Black people, we make so much money. I have boys of mine that make a ton of money. Friends that make a ton of money. But the problem is we don't do shit with it. And that's our fault. The white man, his job is done. If that's your belief that the white man, our problems all belong to him, fine. He did his job. But when do we take over? You know, and our artists, our entertainers, we like that. Like, I'll leave her nameless, but I know of an entertainer I've met, you know, and they spend tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars on rent. And I said to them, all of them, yo, the money you were spending, we could buy the block. We could mortgage the whole damn block with that money. And crickets, not a damn thing. On and on and on. I got Kanye's manager blowing me up, texting me 6 a.m. He's a cool dude, but you know, he's like, I want that black card. You know, I got a message from him 7 a.m. Hey, what's up? But if I'm like, hey, let's invest. I want to buy this apartment building. Let's me and you get it. You making all this money. You spending, you know, you rolling like that. Why don't we get an apartment building? And then the conversation turns to crickets. That's not the white man's fault. It's not the Jew's fault. Russell Simmons is rich in Bali off of the money that him and Leo Cohen made together. Period. And so is Barry Gordy. They all rich. How come they rich and everybody else ain't?
Again, as I always say, in fact, my feelings, let me read this. You said you are misinformed. I have seen black financial statements and white financial statements. Whites on average make way more money and have way more options, way more retirement. That is true. So I want to say this. And wait. And Detroit, man, how you doing? So he's not talking against reparations. But I will say this. I don't think we should have the conversation about why can they do it and we can't do it without mentioning systemic and institutional racism, because I hear that argument a lot. Like, well, if he can do it, I can do it. In theory, yeah, I guess so. However, what we do is we negate all the other stuff, right? Because I think when we say that, oh, if you can do it, I can do it. For one thing, we all don't have the same set of abilities. Let's just keep it real. Another thing is there is systemic and institutional racism that greatly affects the wealth of Black people. There in California, right there, Gavin Newsom is talking about that commission, got a whole commission together stating that Black Californians need reparations to the tune of, monetarily speaking, $223,000 in addition to housing stuff and tax stuff and incarceration stuff, just a whole bunch of stuff, right? And so the point that I'm bringing that up is because they realize that institutional and systemic racism has caused that to be the case for Black people, specifically in California. There is a lot done to Black people to cause that wealth gap that Facts Not Feelings speaks about. We know that with white people, they have about 100 and I don't know, they say 17,000, maybe 20 or so net worth to that of 17,000 with Black people. It's going to take 232 years to close that wealth gap. So yes, you can do it. And if I can do it, that theory is a theory. But we know that
it's a theory.
Not necessarily true.
It's a theory, but it works. And here's what I want to say about this again. I'll beat this horse until Secretariat comes from the grave. And first of all, the 223,000, in my opinion, they owe us more than that. But that's a whole other conversation, because 200,000 ain't shit in California. That's a house in the hood. Not even in the hood, it's a down payment on the house in the hood. But if you take that 200,000 and you put 20% down on, 3 or 4 properties at $1 million combined, or you buy $1 million building, you know what I'm saying, with 40 units, and you got 40 people cutting you a check every month for rent. Now $200,000 is off the hook. You know what I'm saying? But again, we have to own it. Like, the problem with Black people is we reminisce about the past too much. Yes, there's systemic racism. I live in California. I deal with systemic racism on a regular basis. I know I live and I can feel it. I know it's there. And so we, unfortunately, I don't want to use maybe it's the term work harder. I don't know. But to sit here and keep talking about systemic racism, yes, it exists.
We gonna keep talking about it until it goes away.
But we don't do anything about it, though. We keep voting for the same old people.
Correct.
Wing low Negroes that don't do shit for us. They don't do nothing. Like right now, what are they talking about? Giving money to Ukraine, which fine, they need the help, but damn, Black people being blown up every day. We getting bombs dropped on us.
Let me say this. Okay? This is why I impress upon people to read, right? The Messenger has said that regardless of who we vote for, Black people in America, yes, we do need to do for self, right? Said this in this book. It says it a copious amount of times. We need to do for self. Message to the Black man in America, if y'all want to pick that up. Also, Marcus, I'm going to always go back to the talking points. Marcus Garvey also said, up you mighty nation, accomplish what you will. And everybody else in between, right? But never did any of these people say, let's forget about systemic and institutional racism. Let's not ask this government for anything. Here in the back of the final call, it's always there. It says what the Muslim wants and what the Muslim believes. Here, they're asking for a whole bunch of stuff, including, let's see here. They acknowledge, us being descendants of slaves, that we want land, we want money. So there's things that we want, right? So yes, we should be doing for self. Nobody is ever going to negate that, but we're not ever going to stop talking about systemic and institutional racism until, for one, it goes away, which I don't know if it'll go away. And we do need to vote differently. However, Black people didn't create systemic and institutional racism. White supremacy did, or the false idea of it anyway. It's created by them. So it's going to take them to get rid of the institution of, racism, not us. Now, there are things we can do, like with the Asians. They have done things. They have organized their practice group economics, and they say, you know what? We got the same devil y'all got. However, we haven't. Again, they were already unified. They didn't come over here in the circumstances that we did, but they understand the power of unity, that y'all can't do nothing to us if we're unified, and y'all less likely to even think about doing anything to us because we're unified, right? Which is why we see legislative speaking, they get stuff because they know what the government knows, and everybody else in power knows what happens when the Asians don't get nothing, or anybody else. They're going to make a move against them. So that I do agree. There are things we can do, but I don't think we should ever just say, well, we should stop thinking about the past, because is it really the past if we're still enduring that?
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we need to spend more time in the present, in the future. Like, people, when I'm in a conversation with them, they're talking about the past and systemic racism and slavery. I'm like, man, listen, how many hours did you spend today working on your future and your present and how many times did you spend hell to the no. Look at this dog in my house. That's my neighbor's dog. Up on my door, and this fool, where'd he go? That's my neighbor's dog. I'm about to give his ass away. He just walked in my door. Man, I'm gonna give his ass away. I told my neighbor, I'm giving your dog away next time you come to my house. So, anyways, how much time do you spend on your future. That's what we should be talking about. Yes, the racism is there. And the racism, in my opinion, is getting worse. It is getting worse. This whole thing with Donald Trump opened the door. Yes, I mean, whatever. Right, left, call me what you want to call. I'm a registered Republican. I voted for Obama. I voted for Trump. I vote for whoever seems like they're making sense for my money. I could care less about civil rights and equal rights because they do not exist. And if you sitting up here thinking that the Democrats are giving you equal rights, you got your wires crossed. I promise you. Almost every single friend that I have that is black and that is, look at the dog, hell to the no, that is wealthy, they are conservative, which means we believe in doing for self. We believe that our kids we should be responsible for them. We believe we should be responsible for making sure our women are taken care of. We are conservative. We believe in us doing for self. That's what I'm talking about. And I don't care. White people, black people, that's their money. And they're not going to give it to us. Especially right now with all this woke stuff. You can't even turn on the TV without seeing all this woke stuff. It's like men are being destroyed on television. Every time I turn on the TV, I see a dude, and if you want to live an alternative lifestyle, I have a lot of gay friends. But homeboy, I don't want to see you in a pink dress. Every time I turn on the TV, I see a black man in a woman's outfit. It's like, come on, you guys. At what point do we say, yo, it's okay to be a black man that is a black man? If you like other men, cool. But do it as a man and get your money together. I don't hear enough black people talking about making money moves. And this unity thing is dead. It's never going to happen with black people. Ever. That dog is a wrap. As soon as I'm done with him, I'm bagging his ass up. But look what we did to Marcus Garvey. Here's the problem with black money is when we get a black man that says, let's do it, all the black leaders, all your liberal leaders come out and they wear him out. Look what they did to Marcus Garvey. Look what they did to Marcus Garvey. And wasn't this the white man? The white man came with the power and said, okay, cool, thanks for the help. We got him. Man, please. And that's our fault. I don't care what people say. Slavery sucked. It's a stain on the universe for light years to come. But damn, while we fight for reparations and all, fight systemic racism, we need to fight just as hard for our future. Next time you walk around the church bucket, instead of praying for financial well-being, why don't you dig in the bucket? Thank you, Jesus. No, I'm just playing, but stop. Black people, we need to do more. The sun comes up 5, 6 o'clock, which means you can get to work. Actually, you can work before the sun is up. All right. If you go to my Facebook page yesterday, you watch my cooking show. I was wearing this shirt and I'm wearing the same pants. I haven't even taken my Oura ring off the charger. I don't smell. I took a shower last night right before my show. And my assistant comes downstairs and she looked at me kind of funny. I said, yeah, I'm wearing the same clothes. I did my show last night. I worked. Fell asleep on the couch. All my files are there. I'm working, organizing my As the Money Talks podcast. And I said, I woke up at 5 a.m. and I picked up the folder and I went back to work. Brushed my teeth. I went back to work. That's it. So that, until we get to that point, we're going to suffer. And if you're not saving money, man, you are going to die physically, mentally, emotionally, because there's going to become a day, if you don't have money saved, we are just going to get rid of you. And that's how the world works. So I want to be united. Yes. I did a dinner for my boys. If you follow me on Facebook, I called my homeboys and said, listen, man, this is some bullshit. We need to get together and have dinner on a regular basis. We homeboys, I've known you guys 40 years. We need to break bread. So we'll start in my house. And my girl ain't here, so we can smoke in the house. And so we need to do more of that. Camaraderie, getting together. And and one of my boys was like, oh, you a Trump supporter. They always start that shit with me. And one of my boys, he's not on social media. My boy's Regis, who is really religious and blah, blah, blah. He's like, I voted for Trump too. And the room was like, what? I was like, okay, I know something going on. This dude voted for Trump. And he was swinging low, Democrat to the, but he's like, you know what? I started making money. I'm more conservative. I want to be married. I want my kids to grow up in a safe world. So I voted for Trump. And I'm like, whoa, that was a blow to me too. But most of my boys are Democrats and we all still boys, right? But at the end of the day, we want the same thing. So we need to focus on that. The money.
Absolutely. So Don, call me in the morning. Call me in the morning so we could talk more specifically. And you got to call me early because I go to bed early. I know people be texting me and calling me, but when I'm out, I'm out. I am an early riser and I go to bed early as well. In fact, I don't know how much longer I'm gonna be up after I get off of here. And True Monger, how are you doing? It says, no, it doesn't end at I'm your daddy or your mom or your daddy. Handle family issues or discuss in private. So he's watching the playback. Notorious Hebrew, how are you doing? He says, whiny and defeated is what he sounds. Oh, I'm not sure who you're speaking of, but yeah, Walter. Walter has very differing views, but indeed, and I don't mean to speak for him. He means well. Walter's one of those people that's very much so a go-getter, and has had to get it out of the mud a few times. So
yeah, dig in the mud, and I don't care. I tell you, I have zero sympathy for people that complain about their situation and don't do anything about it. And when I hang up here, I'm calling every single one of my kids because I got a bone to pick with them. Right now it's Christmas. Everybody's planning this white elephant party and this, and Dad, we need money, and Dad, I need this, and we need you to. I'm like, yo, I'm in the same damn clothes. The fact that you guys got up, showered, and you had coffee at Starbucks and all that crap today, like those days are over. You know what I'm saying? I told one of my youngest son, I said, yo, man, I am fighting cancer right now, and I'm working an 18-hour day. Do you think it is fair to put this shit, keep throwing this shit on top of my shoulders? Like every time I get a call, 50% of the time, it's like, yo, we need something, this, that. I got to get this. So-and-so need this. I'm like, whoa. Like, everybody can get up and fight. I have zero sympathy. And I don't care if I step on your toes. You want somebody that's going to give it to you straight. And I had a dude, his name is Doug Zerber. He's a white dude. He looked me in the face and said, Walter, you ain't shit. You went out all day and you sold one thing. That's it all day. And you got your girlfriend with you. She ought to leave you. I'd be embarrassed if I was you. And from that moment, it stuck with me. He was right. I wasn't being true to myself. So if you have two arms and legs and you can see, and even if you got one arm and one leg and you could see, you could do it. You can start a business today. You can go to GoDaddy, Spotify, take a picture, and have your product up. And for $97, you can go on Facebook, and there's a company that will help you build ads. No excuse. I don't want to hear it. You got internet right now, you can start a business. The problem is it takes time and energy.
Boot Tribe, how are you doing? No, he is not a foreigner.
But I'm in a foreign country on a regular basis. I'm trying to be a foreigner. I'm looking at a house in France right now. I'm getting my black ass out of here sometimes. And you can learn a lot from a foreigner. So you think you go to some other countries and see how they live. Then you come back here and go, oh, like when I went to Cuba, we stayed in this dude's Airbnb. They have dial-up internet. Cuba, if you live in Cuba, they don't allow you to have high-speed internet because they don't want you getting information that fast. You have to go to a park. So you see hundreds of people in Cuba, and they call them internet parks, and that's where they have to use internet. If they want fast internet, they got to go there. When they go home, it's dial-up. And they take 90% of their money. If you own a Cuban cigar factory, 90% of your profits go to the Cuban government. Then you take one of them foreigners and you bring their ass over here and they wearing our ass out because they get to keep 100% of their money before taxes. And they get up and they work 19 hours a day. So yeah, maybe I am a foreigner. We could all learn from a foreigner. My housekeeper who cleans my house has bought 2 BMWs from me cash, almost 15 grand, and she cleans my floors. She got more money than most people I know. She don't speak a word of English. So we can learn from a foreigner. And I don't know much about LLCs. In my opinion, I'm gonna give it to you in the words of Andrew Tate. And I know he's controversial, but he said something that stuck with me. He goes, Walt, he didn't say Walter, but I felt like he was talking to me. If you're gonna start a business, just start it. Here's what I mean by that. I started Verbal Herb, Lit.1, my candle company. And do you know how much mail I get from the IRS in the state of California and the business and this and all these letters I get from the. What I should have did is just started Verbal Herb, my clothing company, and just started it, and then go back later and get the LLC. Go back later because once you go on the IRS's map, they got you, and you can't make a move. So to people that say I need an LLC, I say start your business. Start the business. If you sell eggs in the hood, sell some eggs first. And when you get the cracking, then you do an LLC. Because an LLC in California is $800 a year. Some small businesses don't even make that. So, well, again, I've been to Cuba. I'm telling you, I was there in Cuba for a week. They are not being, this is a Cuban government that is keeping them like that because they don't want them to wake up. Do you understand? And that's why Black people, we need to travel because you get out and you see a different world when you travel. Here in the US right now, we are all on high-speed internet. We're chilling. Some of us live in check to check, but still have a comfortable life here. Man, you go to Cuba, Philippines, and you're making $1,500 a month, you are a rock star. But they know that any moment their government could collapse. So they do stack money. In the United States, it's happening here too. The government, more and more and more. You notice when you go to the bank and you make a large deposit that they now ask you for all your information. I put $5,000 in the bank and the lady asked me for my social security number. I thought it was 10. She goes, well, yeah, now the IRS, they're changing the rules. Now we have the ability to, every time you make a deposit, to ask you for all your, where you work, all your information, blah, 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 blah. That, and it's getting, here we come again. It's getting worse. And it's going to continue to get worse. Watch. You think I'm lying. And you watch and see, thank God the Democrats didn't get control of everything. It would have been a wrap. Yeah, in Cuba, they don't have homeless people. I saw none. No homeless people in Cuba. They take care of the people, and that's a benefit, I guess, of socialism, is the government is there to take care of everyone. So maybe that's a benefit. I don't know. But in Cuba, they're selling tacos, tomatoes. Man, I saw a lady carrying like something on two shoulders and has something on her head. I'm like, damn, she's working hard. And we got women in America complaining, waking up at 10 a.m., complaining how rough it is. And she got bananas on the shoulders and tomatoes on the head. Anyways, get your passport.
I saw that when I was in Africa as well, South Africa to be exact. There's a brother walking and he had a stack of books, maybe like 15 to 20 books. And he was holding them like that, like one hand down here, one up here. You could, just barely enough you could see over the books. And he was walking around selling the books. And I asked him, I said, why don't you have a cart or something like that to carry him? He says, because I don't want to be comfortable. He says, because I know if I have a cart, then I'm not going to try to be I'm not going to be as eager to sell the books. But carrying all those books like that reminds him that I need to hustle and sell all, these books. So eventually my stack can be shorter and it'll be easier for me to carry. Right. And when I heard him explain that, it just blew me away because it's like, I don't think it makes you a bad person to want a cart to carry the books, but I got where he was going. I don't want to be comfortable. I don't want to be stuck with all of these books by the end of the day. I want to offload them. So because if I offload them, I make money, and I guess somebody will get knowledge. But more importantly, I have money to take care of myself. You know what I mean? So that was very eye opening for me. That was one of the most memorable things that I took away from my visit to Africa.
And here's the other thing too, Black people, you don't need to have a bunch of money to get started. You do not. I'm telling you, you can start building wealth with no money. I'm not talking about money to live and survive. I'm talking about like extra money. Extra money. Um, on my cooking show last night, I did, how to use a car to buy real estate, how to build wealth, how to get wealthy, how to retire in 5 years using just one car loan. And I've talked about it on the show 100 times. Same thing. Buy a car, get it at 9. You have the bank give you 20. Put the $10,000 down on a small house somewhere. Little duplex or fourplex, whatever. You rent it out. You take that money, pay the car note. You drive the car. You put it on Turo. You got a car for free. You're making money, and you ain't came out of pocket a damn dime. But you got a car and a small 4-unit apartment building with not a penny out of pocket. And I've said that to 100,000 people online. I say that, and I say that. And I got people that have done it. They do it. And then some people hear it and go, we don't have any money. And I'm like, you big dummy, you don't need money.
Let me interrupt you for just a second. So Detroit man, he said this is about his personal and individual success or reparations for foundational Black Americans. Well, actually, this is the Wealth Wednesdays with Walter, who is a financial expert, and so he shows us how to get to the money while we're waiting on reparations. So it's not about either or; it's about learning how to be more financially successful. Right? Maybe some people on here are. I would imagine they are. But there's some of us who are like, I didn't know that. Okay, let me try that. In order to save just a little bit more money. So I just want to be clear about that.
And I'm doing this shit for free. You know what I'm saying? My sister's doing this shit for free. This is information, period. And I'm up like this. I don't talk about something I'm not doing. If I don't know how to do it, I'll say like LLCs, I don't know enough about it. I hate the mail. I don't know. But I know how to do this. I know how to do that. I know. And this is how I learned. And Black people, get your feet out of the aisle. Stop being so damn sensitive. Man, if somebody's telling you what to do and you can benefit from it, do it. That's a problem with Black men. We get in the room and we can't, like when I was part of the 40 Black men, it was like, damn, it's too much power struggle. How sensitive Negroes up in here. Man, if you got somebody that's dropping knowledge, take the knowledge and spread it to other people. That's it. I'm telling you, man, Black people, the reason I like the car strategy so much is because Black people, we like nice things, right? We have the nicest luxury cars. I was at the Mercedes dealership getting one of my Mercedes, the car that I was trying to sell. I was just trying to get it fixed before I sold it. And I looked in the lobby, and most of the people in the lobby were Black women, matter of fact. Beautiful sisters just in there buying Mercedes. And I'm like, so we obviously have money. You can't just walk up in Mercedes and use their lobby. You got to be up in here buying something. So if we love cars so much, and it's sexy to have a nice car. It's sexy, it's attractive. Why not use a car to build your wealth? That's what I'm talking about. Use your credit, build your wealth. I just told you how to buy a house and a car without a penny out of your pocket. If you came to this country from Africa, you don't even have to have citizenship to do what I said. And you came over here and you spent a year, built your credit, you could go buy a car the way I said through Navy Federal, and you could put 3% down on a house or if you buy a $200,000 4-unit, you know what I'm saying? You put down 5%. What's 5% of 200 grand? It's $10,000. You understand what I'm saying? Like, is that really the Audi in this damn dog? I'm gonna tie him up. I'm looking at my Audi. I paid $9 grand for it. The bank gave me $21,000 for it. I took that other $11,000 and I flipped it. You could do that. Your kids could do that. Matter of fact, some of our kids my kids' credit score is higher than mine. It makes me mad. They're not doing shit with it because I got to keep pushing them. You know what I'm saying? So, verbal herb, I'll tell you how I started, and you guys could do this, and it's not competition to me. It's like I heard a brother say, there's no such thing as competition or saturation. How many water companies are there? You know what I'm saying? There's hundreds, thousands. So, when I started Verbal Herb, the conscious clothing line, like we want to uplift people, mentally fight mental illness. I went on GoDaddy, I bought Verbal Herb, boom, that was $10. Shopify, they give you a free trial, then it's $39 a month. I took some pictures of my shirts. I paid a chick in the Philippines $35-40. Took some pictures. I gave another chick in the Philippines on Fiverr $300. She took all the pictures and everything, and she created our Instagram, Facebook, put all the posts up. You know what I'm saying? And now if you go to Verbal Herb right now, you can buy a shirt. And I don't have a shirt in my house from that you buy online. It's all when you go to Shopify and order, Printify sends the shirt out. They give me $18. They keep 12. That's it. So that was a few $100. That's it. So anyone could do that, right? Yeah, cars are leased. I don't lease cars.
Real quick, Walter. So you're saying, and not to cut you off, the podcast is As the Money Talks, right?
Right. I just started it. We've only got 4 shows. I mean, we're just right now, I'm getting it up. So like if you go to As the Money Talks on YouTube, you have to really look for it because I only have 4 videos. They're small. But if you go to Spotify, it's there. You type in my name, Walter Coulter, it does come up. But as we build it, you'll see it more. And I'm really just trying to get my feet wet with this whole thing. You know what I'm saying? Because it is a lot. Like when I started As the Money Talks in 2010, 10, 12, somewhere around there. And I just launched it. When I stopped eating for 21 days, I was clear I wasn't eating. My mind was on fire. And I started As the Money Talks. And it didn't cost me nothing except what I paid my producer to run everything.
Can you break this down a little bit? I guess more clear.
So let me break it down. Let's say I want to buy a house right now. And I don't have any money, but I have good credit, which I always say is build your credit at all costs. If you want to get rich in America, build your credit first and to the death, build your credit. Because then you could go to a credit union and say, I found this car. I like it. Here's the VIN number. Can you tell me how much you will loan against it? Right? No money. So when I say no money, I mean no money. Then, so when I went to Navy Federal, I gave them the VIN number to the Audi. It was still sitting at a dealer auction. I saw this Audi. And I said, I want that. It's an S5. It's low. There's 150 miles an hour. I said, I want that car. So I called Navy Federal and I gave them the VIN number. She goes, we'll loan you $21,000. How much do you want? I said, stop with the dumb questions. So I went to Navy Federal. I walked into the bank and they gave me a check for $21,000. That afternoon, the Audi sat for weeks before I bought it because I flipped the money they gave me. So I went into the bank with no money. They gave me $21,000. I bought the Audi for $9,000 because ultimately I had, I wanted it. So I bought it. I have $11,000 left over minus my fees for the DMV, which you control, right? It's just you put what you want to put down, right? I'm gonna leave it at that. So now let's say after fees, I have $10,000, right? They loaned me 20. I paid 9. I have $10,000 left. What do I do with the 10,000? At 5% down, you could go out and you could buy a $200,000 fourplex, duplex, 5 units, 6 units. Do you understand what I'm saying? It really depends on your credit. Buying a home that's 1 to 4 units is actually, it's considered a residential loan. So if you buy a fourplex, you can use your FHA loan. You can use your VA loan. You could use all that stuff with 1 to 4 units. So let's say I go to Texas and I buy a 4 unit for $50,000 each. And that's a lot of money, in my opinion, for a 4 unit in Texas or Ohio or Louisiana or Florida, depending on where it's at, right? So I take that $10,000, I put 5% down using my FHA loan, and I buy this 4 units with the money that's left over from my car loan. And then because the real estate market is such a crap shoot, it's so messy, sellers are paying your closing costs. So now I buy this duplex and I ask the seller to pay my $10,000 in closing costs. And they say, sure, because we need to get rid of this property. So the seller gives you closing costs. The bank gave you the money for the car, and you took the extra and you made a down payment, and you're in this house. It's a wrap, period. That's how it works. So the housing situation is right where we need it to be, because this is how we get rich in these markets. There's a lot of conflicting information out there. That's true. And realtors are saying one thing. First of all, you guys, realtors make money from selling properties. You're not going to get it straight from most realtors. And most realtors I know don't even own property, right? So I don't take my advice from real estate agents. They work for us, right? Your average real estate agent is broke and can't even buy a house. I have a lot of real estate agent friends, and they're not even in a position to buy, right? So they keep saying save, save. No, put that comment back up real quick, D, so I can finish reading it. I don't need to keep saving, yes, but we don't need to wait for better rates. That is hogwash. What I would do is I would find a property that I like, and I would make a low ball offer. If the house is $200,000, it's been on Zillow for 100 days, I'll give you $150. Now that's super low, but you let them come back at $175. Let's say you agree on $160, and your interest rate's 6%. What's going to happen when the interest rates fall? You then refinance, because when the interest rates, if they ever get back to 2.5%, 3%, 4%, you won't be able to buy, because housing is going to shoot back up and you're going to be out of the game. The only way a lot of us can get in the real estate game is to do it now. Homeboy, your house has been on the market for 3-4 months. You ain't getting a dime. Let me give you less so you can at least sell it. Or let me assume your mortgage, take over your mortgage, and let me give you a little bit extra. You know what I'm saying? Let's work something out creatively, because right now is the time to buy real estate, because sellers are more flexible. If interest rates are 2% and the market is hot, I'm not paying your closing cost. I'm not even taking that. I couldn't even get real estate agents on the phone a year ago. Now, everybody got an open house. This house that I'm in, that I rent, by the way, because one thing I learned from Grant Cardone is you rent where you live, because you can do it cheaper, and you buy everywhere else. I paid $2,000 a month for this house. In Zillow, it was $770 last year. There's no way I could buy a house for $770 at $2,000 a month. Even at $450, I can't buy this house for $2,000 a month. So instead of doing what my neighbors are doing, somebody just bought a house over here for $6 something. They're paying $4,000 a month. I'm paying $2,000. We live in the same exact house, which gives me $2,000 to save up for my investment real estate, which is going to then pay the mortgage when I choose to buy a house. So I hope that answered your question. And Hut One, I see you doing the football squat. Is that what that is? We need to get ready for what's coming our way. So I'm not a vet. I wish I was. Navy Federal Credit Union, one of my buddies sent me a link to his Navy Federal. And he sent me the link, and I asked me for affiliation. I don't remember what I said. And I opened an account with Navy Federal. I've since then given that Navy Federal link to my kids, to my friends. I've gave it to Dee. She got a Navy Federal account. She ain't never been in the Navy. You know what I'm saying? I have a bunch of my friends that I just send them the link to Navy Federal, and they opened an account. My assistant, she has an account with Navy Federal. I sent her the link. So right now she's trying to build her credit. Actually, she wants to buy the Audi from me. Just building credit and protecting it. So that's what you do. And here's the other thing. This is so gangster. And I learned this from this old white dude back in the days. And it just resurfaced when I started paying more attention to cars. He goes, you realize if you buy a car and you don't give the bank the pink slip, you keep it, you can still turn around and sell that car and keep the money the bank gave you, and they will convert it to a personal loan. So right now, I bought that Audi, 6 months ago? I bought that S5. Do you know where the pink slip is? In my house. I have the pink slip to my Audi I have a loan against my car, and I still have the pink slip. And they sent me a letter just a few days ago. Okay, this is our third warning. If you don't give us the title, we're going to change your interest rate from 7% to 18%. And I was like, change it, baby. What's taking you so long? Because with $20,000, 18% is only $3,600 a year. I know for a fact that $20,000, I've already made $20,000 on it. So even if I made 20 and I gave them 3,600, I still have $16,400 that I made after paying them 18%. I don't care if my interest rate was 25%. If I'm making 50% on somebody else's money, I still make 25%. This is what rich people understand about money and poor people don't. Like I'll have someone say, oh, the interest rate's so high. No, it's not. If the interest rate's 50% from your bank, but you make 100% on their money, you still make 50 with no money out of pocket. You understand what I'm saying? Like the smart cars, the Turo, my God, man, I tell you, that Audi, I only paid $9,000 for it. They gave me 21. I could have went out and bought two of those little Fiats, that little 500 that you see Jennifer Lopez in. You can buy that car for $5,000 all day. D, I sent you a picture of a bunch of them. $5,000. You can buy that Fiat and put it on Turo for 50, 60 bucks a day. You got two of them in front of your house. From the same car loan, you got 3 cars. Man, this is how we close the wealth gap. This is how we do it. By making moves. And here's the other thing, you guys. Go out. Like right now, Airbnb is under attack. This is the best time to get into Airbnb because people are running for the gates. If you want to make moves right now, buy an Airbnb. Because like I'm selling my Airbnb. It's already furnished, but I'm taking that money and buying commercial buildings. Whereas a lot of people are selling their Airbnbs because they just want to get out. So you could buy an Airbnb that's already furnished. They've already got people that have stayed. They've already got the rating. You understand what I'm saying? And then all you got to do is improve it. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of these Airbnbs don't have hot tubs. So Airbnbs that have hot tubs are booked on a regular basis. So you put a hot tub, buy Airbnb and put a hot tub. I got a hot tub in my backyard. It was $600. Go to Amazon right now and go to Intex. They have a hot tub big enough for, it says 6 people for $600. So you could do stuff like that. You can improve. My Airbnb, I used to Airbnb my house, 2 rooms. I mean, I'm not going to have my guests in my jacuzzi, but I don't know. Guess it depends on the guests.
Absolutely. So we could get out of here early today, can't we?
I mean, if y'all done, shoot. I mean, I don't know what this is.
Yes, indeed. So, Brother Don, thank you so much for being my moderator. You do an awesome job. Do not forget to call me in the morning so we can chop it up. Yes, I will be in California. I'm hoping because the weather's kind of going to be crazy, right? It's going to be, if you're living anywhere like Texas, it is going to be 17 degrees on Friday morning, like somewhere around there on Saturday morning. So it's going to be pretty cold around these parts. Now, I'm hoping that I can get out of here on a flight because, you know, I might not be able to. I haven't gotten the notice yet. Sounds like my flight is, you know, ready to go. But if it's not, I'll be here. But I'm hoping to be in sunny Southern California for a couple of days, and I'll be back here on Tuesday. So I won't be on here Sunday live with Donovan. I'll actually be in real live time in California with Donovan. So you guys that do celebrate the holidays, have a great, happy holiday. I hope you get everything you wanted.
Say what up, dog. I'm kidnapping this dog. He keeps just my neighbor's dog. Say what up, man. Say what up to my folk.
You might as well adopt him.
This is my neighbor's dog. He come in here, he jump on my lap. Man, he go ahead and he was scared. Look at this dog. I don't do that, homie.
He said, "Where the food at? Where the food at?"
He just walk. I open my door because I'm smoking cigars, but he just walk on up in here. He walking around. He ain't even scared.
Yes, indeed. So
Yeah.
anyway, y'all, I'm reading the rest of y'all comments. We love and appreciate y'all. Y'all have a great holiday and everything. I hope everything goes your way. But I will not be here, as I said, on Sunday. Be back with our podcast with Donovan on Tuesday, and then carrying forth from there. Of course, if you guys haven't already, go over to the African Diaspora News channel. There's a whole lot of great information over there as well. Please check out Walter's As the Money Talks podcast and YouTube channel. Brother Don put it in the chat. So there's a lot of good information there. Of course, follow Donovan Sadiq. He is also on YouTube. So we'll see y'all later. Y'all have a great rest of your day and stay warm, right?
Yes, 75 degrees, 80 degrees out here. We are sweating in California.
It's in the 40s right now here. So anyway,
that's
see
nuts.
y'all later.
All right.